There are 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. They spend their days behind bars, dressed in an orange jumpsuit, and referred to by their prisoner number until they fully serve their sentence because of a crime that they committed. Believe it or not, some of the prisoners among those incarcerated in the United States were once healthcare professionals. If you're required to follow HIPAA because of where you work and you commit a violation, the Office of Civil Rights Penalty could extend to you. Hi everyone, I'm Matt from eTactics, and today I'm going to answer the question, can you go to jail for a HIPAA violation? Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button below. While you're down there, hit that alert bell icon next to it as well, so when we post new helpful content, you get notified. For this video, I'm going to break down instances where you won't go to jail and cases where you will go to jail. First, let's talk about scenarios where you won't go to jail if you violate HIPAA. The reality is that the average number of breaches per day that affect 500 records or more is 1.76. Why is the cutoff for that statistic 500 though? Although the OCR requires organizations to report all HIPAA violations to them, they only make the list of those that affect 500 or more public. They don't want to make the smaller breaches public for two main reasons. First, the OCR only requires that organizations report these to them on an annual basis, no later than 60 days into the next calendar year. For those breaches that affected 500 or more records, the OCR mandates that the organization involved report what happened without reasonable delay, and in no case later than 60 calendar days from the discovery. Second, it's also because smaller breaches happen so often. No national news outlet is going to cover a story of a doctor gossiping about their patient to someone who wasn't authorized. Although gossiping is one of the leading causes of a HIPAA violation, it usually only affects a small number of patients. Now, I'm not trying to dismay the severity of that type of behavior. It's still inappropriate for healthcare professionals. However, it's not an action that's going to get you sentenced to the big house. You could lose your job though. The OCR does define criminal penalties for HIPAA violations as well. The OCR uses these predefined tiers to make it easier for them to give judgment. Going to jail for a HIPAA violation doesn't happen often. It only happens in rare circumstances. Whether you go or not is largely dependent on your motive behind what you did and whether or not you knew what you were doing was wrong. Violations that have happened in the past where the individual who committed it received a jail sentence include an IT employee who downloaded PHI from their former employer to sell it on the dark web and make a quick buck, lying to federal investigators while fraudulently handling grant money meant to prescribe drugs for personal gain, and logging into an employer's system to steal patient financial information to use for personal purchases. Although going to jail for a HIPAA violation is very rare, it does happen. In order to get a prison sentence, you would have to do something pretty malicious. If you caused a violation that's more minor, you probably aren't going to go to jail, although you might lose your job or receive some sort of repercussion from your employer. If you'd like to learn more about HIPAA violations and managing them, reach out to eTactics. And you already made it this far into the video, so you might as well like it, share it, and comment below. Well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.